Hey everyone, today it's another mixing start to finish video. These are honestly some of my favourite to film, but this one is extra special because as well as seeing the mixing process, you also get a window into the songwriting and recording process because this video forms part of a series. The song was started by Chris Buck, who's a professional guitarist and content creator also here in the UK. Along with some drum tracks, he also recorded some seriously cool guitar and bass parts that we'll take a listen to in just a minute. Then Cara wrote the song and recorded a bunch of amazing vocals that we're going to be processing today. She's a professional vocalist, artist, and content creator. It's highly likely that you've heard her voice on some tracks before. I've linked both of those videos in the description down below, and they're definitely worth a watch if you want to improve your recording or your songwriting. Maybe you're dealing with some writer's block or struggling with arrangement. These should give you some really good creative ideas. And speaking of recording, everything was recorded and mixed using Focusrite Scarlett interfaces, Focusrite microphones, and the included software and plugins, and a few stock plugins that you can find in any DAW. So I want to say a big thank you to Focusrite for providing all of that gear and for making this whole video series possible. But that's more than enough talking. Let's actually listen to the track. I'll just start by adjusting some levels and then we'll take it step by step. So let's get right into it.
I've been thinking about all the things that you say you wanna take a new route. You wanna whip my body down, you wanna feel it without. If it's wrong, then I don't wanna be right. But I've been waiting around for you to tell me you love me, holding you down. I'll follow you, paparazzi. Do whatever you want, whatever you like. You drive me crazy like that. You got me fading to black. My heart is under attack. You drive me crazy like that, crazy like that. Ooh, I'm a psycho, got me screwed up like a light bulb. What did it do to me, do to me? Oh, I'm a psycho, psycho. I'm a psycho, screwed up like a light bulb. Mentally, spiritually, and physically, oh. I'm a psycho, psycho for you.
Honestly, I'm really liking where that's sounding already. The tracks sound good on their own, but of course we're going to apply a bunch of processing to try and make them sound as good as possible. I'm the sort of person who dives into all of those little details too soon. So I find it's really important for me to sit back, actually listen to the song, set the rough levels and all the panning first, because that gets me about halfway there. Included with Scarlett, we have EQs, compressors, auto-tune for the vocals, reverb, channel strips, and all sorts of stuff we're going to apply to this. And I'm going to do this one group at a time. You can see that I've got things sent to groups or buses, and this means that I can process stuff together and then dive into all of those details. I feel that the low end of the kick drum is just lacking a bit of weight. I think there's some potential there that we can sort of tease out of it. Even just a small boost like that and the drums suddenly sound like they know what they're doing a little bit more. They sound more confident in the mix. Channel strips are great because they put filters, compressors, gates, de-essers, saturation all in one place for you. I don't use them enough, and in this case we're going to use it just for the compression. The only other thing I could hear was this shaker loop. Quite a lot of sort of low mids in there, so I'm just going to high pass that. When it comes to the bass, there's only two things I'm looking to do here. That's level out the performance a little bit. It's a live recorded bass, so there's a lot of variation in volume. And the next thing is to push a little bit of harmonic distortion as well, just so that that bass really comes through on all speaker systems, not just large speakers and headphones. So for this, I'm going to use the red compressor and the channel strip again. I know sometimes with this compression it can just sound like I'm making something louder, so one of the best ways to show what this is doing is just to select an area. I'm just going to export this and show you what the difference is. All of these bits where the bass gets a little bit more quiet, it just fills it in with a little bit more volume, but we've still got some variation and we still have all of these transient attacks here. Now I'm going to use the console or the channel strip to get a little bit more distortion into this bass. So it's just this little control here, THD. What you might see on the analyzer and the EQ here is that there's just a little bit more mid and high harmonics generated when this is turned around. Hopefully if you're wearing headphones you should be able to hear this quite prominently. After listening to those together, the only thing I decided to do was a little bit of side chaining so that each time the kick hits, the bass is being reduced a little bit. It's really easy to overdo this. We don't want to hear that. We're taking away maybe 2 or 3 dB from the bass channel. This just means that those two are going to fit around each other a little bit better. We're not going to have too much buildup of bass. We're also not going to be left with too little. When it comes to the guitars, honestly, there's not a lot I want to do during the intro and verse because it's sort of the only mid-range instrument besides the vocals. However, in the chorus, I'm going to try to thin the guitars just a little bit because we got a lot of bass being provided by that bass guitar and things could get really congested quite quickly. So all we're going to do is use this fast balancer plugin on the electric guitar and we're just going to learn that sound and then it's going to try and sort of pull a little bit more clarity into the sound. We could choose bright, which is very bright indeed. I think neutral sounded pretty good. That's definitely making quite a big difference when all the instruments are played together. It's definitely helping it cut through. I'm actually most excited to get onto the vocals. That's going to make by far the biggest difference in this mix. Then we can go back and adjust a few things. So you can see the first thing I've done on all the vocal tracks is just add an instance of auto-tune access. By adding one of these to all of the layers, it literally makes them more harmonious. They're all relatively in tune. There's just these tiny little bits where you can see auto-tune just adjusting maybe 5, 10, 20 cents just to try and gently push things into the right place. I'm not trying to do super fast tuning like this, which is not going to sound too pleasant.
I'm a psycho, got me screwed up like a light bulb.
So I kept it on medium and I've got one of those applied to all of the layers. I find this is the best thing to apply first. You can think there's sometimes little resonances or issues that you want to fix with EQ, but often just getting things in tune a little bit more does make things sound more harmonious. And with the rest of the track, let's take a listen.
I'm a psycho, got me screwed up like a light bulb. What did he do to me, oh. I'm a psycho.
The vocals are very dynamic, which is great. There's a lot of sort of passion and emotion. A good example of this is this section here.
I'm a psycho, got me screwed up like a light bulb.
Here's something that will probably work on about 90% of vocals, and it's using a fast compressor to grab the peaks, and then we're going to apply gentle compression to the rest of the signal.
I'm a psycho, got me screwed up like a light bulb. I'm a psycho, got me screwed up like a light bulb. I'm a psycho, got me screwed up like a light bulb. Mentally, spiritually, physically, oh.
I've exported the vocals with the compression so that you can see and hear the difference. So if I superimpose them, all the quiet sections just become a little bit louder. And I want to stress, we're not fixing this vocal performance. This is actually great. I like seeing loads of dynamics in performances like this. We're simply controlling that dynamic range and trying to tonally fit it into the mix. We're not sort of fixing any problem here. If you've got nice dynamic vocals like that, that's usually a good sign. You don't want to be singing and sort of too worried about the mic position all the time and constraining yourself like that. You just want to perform and then sort of edit it later.
I'm a psycho, got me screwed up like a light bulb. I'm a psycho, got me screwed up like a light bulb.
And you can also hear how the compression's pulled up so much tone into these vocals, probably made them a little bit brighter as well. This is why often I like to just compress first and then do all the tonal EQ later, because otherwise I have to EQ compress and then I'll have to EQ again, which is not what I used to do, but I'm finding this is working really well. So I'm going to copy all that over and I'll come back to you. And if you use FL Studio, here's a really quick way to copy some settings over. You can just grab a plugin and just sort of drop it on the next track. I've gone for some slightly more gentle settings on the sides. Let's take a listen.
I'm a psycho, psycho. I'm a psycho, got me screwed up like a light bulb. I'm a psycho, psycho, got me screwed up like a light bulb. Mentally, spiritually, physically, oh.
That's sounding really good, so let's add some reverbs and delays. What I've got is a delay send set up from the lead vocals.
You drive me crazy like that. You got my feet into play. My heart is under attack.
So you can hear a few things going on. Firstly, I've got this delay,
You drive me crazy like that.
which is sort of this ping pong delay, and you know the timing's set so it's quite fast.
You drive me crazy like that.
I wanted it to just catch the ends of the words.
You drive me crazy like that.
Then I have this EQ, and this is sort of taking a bit of high end out of those delays.
You drive me crazy like that.
And a bunch of low end too. It keeps the delays sort of focused in the middle of the spectrum. And then the most important step here is to do some side chaining from the lead vocal, so that whenever the lead vocal's singing, these delays are just being ducked down, and then they swell in between the words.
You drive me crazy like that. You got my feet into play. You drive me crazy like that. You got my feet into play. My heart is under attack. You drive me crazy like that, crazy like that.
I've also got a couple of reverb sends, so a long and a short reverb.
Paparazzi, do whatever you want, whatever you like. But I've been waiting around for you to tell me you love me. Holding you down, I'll follow you. Paparazzi, do whatever you want, whatever you like.
And then blended with the lead vocal.
But I've been waiting around for you to tell me you love me. Holding you down, I'll follow you. Paparazzi.
And then a short verb as well. In the mix, you're not really going to hear that as a reverb. You're going to hear it more as a sort of stereo and widening effect. I also think the vocals need a little bit of help in the verses with some EQ. Take a listen to this.
But I've been waiting around for you to tell me you love me. Holding you down, I'll follow you. Paparazzi, do whatever you want, whatever you like.
And you can hear in Kara's vocal recording video that she knows what she's doing. She's the right distance from the microphone. It's in a good room, so I don't have to do a lot to sort of fix that recording. There's nothing broken in it. So for this, I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm using Masterdesk, so it sort of combines your compression, EQ, limiting, all of the main processes you'd use for mastering into one place. So let's just take a listen. I'll dial in some settings and sort of show you what I'm doing. So after making just a few adjustments, I've printed out the master. It's worth noting that the raw tracks and mix actually have a higher peak level, but of course the master has a much higher average level or average loudness because of all that compression and limiting. So what I'm going to do is just sort of play these tracks through and you can hear the difference. Sometimes I'll do some gain matching, but thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll just let the mix or master sort of play us out. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next one.
I've been thinking about all the things that you say. You wanna take a new route, you wanna weight my body down, you wanna feel it without. If it's wrong, then I don't wanna be right. But I've been waiting around for you to tell me you love me, holding you down. I'll follow you, paparazzi. Do whatever you want, whatever you like. You drive me crazy like that. Got me fading to play. My heart is under attack. You drive me crazy like that.